Anatomy of a Political Killing: Understanding Violence, Psychology, and Division in Modern America. Now, friend, I've patched a lot of fences in my time, and one thing I've learned is this: when the wire breaks, it never breaks neat. It kinks, it curls, it twists itself into something that don't make sense. That's the shape of our country right now after the killing of Charlie Kirk. Folks sit down heavy, scratch their heads, and mutter, "What the hell is going on?" That's not cussing for sport, it's a cry from the gut. We used to believe, at least most days, that words were the hardest thing we'd fling at one another. But then a bullet came whispering through Utah air and struck a man mid-sentence, mid-argument, mid-life. And suddenly we were staring at a fence line torn wide open. Fire in a person. First thing to know, violence begins quiet. Not with a bang, but with a grievance that gnaws. Somebody out there nursed a sense of being wronged until it swelled like an abscessed tooth. These assassins don't snap like folks imagine. They plan, they picture, they pace out steps and count windows. It's a dark form of craftsmanship, patient and precise. The old tale is that it must be madness. Sometimes it is, but more often it's something smaller and meaner. Loneliness, failure, shame turned sour. Add a touch of paranoia or narcissism, and suddenly the world looks like a stage where the only way to be noticed is to fire a shot heard round the world. That's the fire. A person aching for significance, deciding that a gun barrel is their pen and blood their ink. Fuel in the culture. But a spark alone don't make a blaze. You need fuel, and Lord knows we stack plenty. Every day our talk drips with acid. Enemies, traitors, vermin. We quit disagreeing and started dehumanizing. Once you decide your opponent ain't fully human, mercy packs its bags. I've watched conversations shrink down to litmus tests. Say the wrong word and you're out. Whole campuses, whole churches, whole neighborhoods start to hum with that us versus them static. It's dry grass in August, waiting for a match. And the match don't just fall, it gets fanned by the great machine we built, the internet. A lonesome soul used to mutter alone in a dark room. Now he mutters into a keyboard, and the algorithm claps him on the back, saying, "Preach it, brother." Each click blows more air onto the coals. He finds echo chambers where anger sounds like fellowship. He finds forums where fantasies are not mocked, but sharpened. In the old days, you had to hunt down a pamphlet or a crank on the corner. Now rage comes delivered prime time, tailored to your taste, piping hot. And then there's the gun. We love our firearms in this country, love 'em in ways folks abroad shake their heads at. Once it was a frontier tool, a way to bring meat to the table or scare off a prowling bear. But over time, the gun became scripture carved in steel, freedom, manhood, sovereignty. So when a bitter soul decides to make his mark, he doesn't pick up a bowie knife or a slingshot. He reaches for the thing our culture has anointed as both weapon and word. One trigger pull, and he speaks the unholy sermon he's been rehearsing. That's what separates a political killing from other horrors. A serial killer hunts in shadows, craving private thrills. A jealous husband lashes out in a kitchen. But an assassin? He craves audience. The act is a broadcast, a twisted press release written in red. And we, the nation, are his unwilling congregation. Our news feeds erupt. Leaders line up to condemn, rightly so. Flags dip, candles flicker at vigils. But once the cameras move on, the old fuel piles back up. The cycle waits. Why the staple matters. So what's to done, Uncle Earnest? Folks expect an answer as clean as a hymn refrain. But I'll tell you straight, There ain't one. Not one, anyway. This problem is braided of many cords: loneliness, rhetoric, algorithms, steel and powder. Cut one, the others still hold. But small chores matter. That's where the staple in my pocket comes in. We can mend, one wire at a time. Talk softer. Not weak, but softer. Ask why before you shout how wrong. Listen long enough to learn the shape of someone's fear. Step outside the digital wind tunnel now and then. Smell your coffee. Touch real dirt. And remember, the world's wider than your feed. And hold the gun for what it is: a tool. Respect it, restrain it, and remind yourself it don't make you whole. Holes are for digging, not living. Closing the gate. We may never cure the sickness of one who plots in shadows, but we can thicken the air around him with kindness, with neighborliness, with a refusal to turn opponents into monsters. That's the work of democracy, as plain and unglamorous as stretching fence. Charlie Kirk is gone, cut down in a courtyard where words should have been enough. His death is a warning bell, not just about guns, not just about mental health, not just about politics, but about what happens when all these storms converge. Tonight, I pocket my bent staple and whisper a prayer that we learn to hammer a few more in before the next section of fence gives way, because the pasture's wide, the herd's restless, and Lord help us if we let the whole line sag.